Assalamu alaikum.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
Okay. Are we ready to start, inshallah? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Alhamdulillah bil alamin wa salatu wassalam ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala ali kulli wa sahbi kulli ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. So inshallah we'll continue on journey of understanding the Quran and studying the Quran in depth. And what we're covering in last 4 days is the definition of Quran. How do we define the Quran as a book? So we yesterday discussed, focus on the Quran being the educator of the human mind and senses. And then after that, we talks about how the Quran provide the description of the Jannah and give us the vision and the target and to aim for the Jannah. So the main point was that as Allah give us stomach and then create many food to fulfill the desire and the need of our body, He also give us a soul and mind with many desires, particularly the desire for eternity and unlimited fulfillment, which is not possible in this world we mentioned. No matter how much we have, the more we have, the less we feel we have it. It's like in this regard, indulging in this world, seeking satisfaction is like a thirsty person trying to kill the thirst by drinking salty water. But the Quran says if you look for satisfaction, أَلَا بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ تَطْمَئِنُّ الْقُلُوبُ, your satisfaction is only possible through remembering, through connecting with Creator, remembering the Creator and connecting with Him. Why and how? I mentioned because if we look around and see the sign of Creator who is most merciful, most kind, all wise, has infinite knowledge, infinite power, then once we find Him and connect to Him, we'll find everything that we desire. And we mentioned that we desire nothing less than eternity. Nothing less than eternity. It is satisfactory to human being and human fitra. And the Quran describes Jannah in this regard as a place of ultimate fulfillment, a place that in which we will get whatever we want. Not only that, we mentioned hadith that what we'll have in Jannah is beyond our imagination. Now, the other key point we discussed, the Quranic description of Jannah, is very similar to, in a way, our ideals of worldly happiness. That is because the Quran speaks to us in our language. That's not in reality what the Jannah will look like. But the Quran gives us the description as if a child really loves chocolate and ask you that, can I have a chocolate in Jannah? That you tell this child that, look, you're going to have all kind of chocolate in Jannah. Don't worry, Jannah is the place of all kind of chocolate. But it doesn't really mean Jannah is a chocolate place. So it means that at that level, for that child, if chocolate is that important for happiness, you say, you're going to find us in Jannah. So that's how we describe it in a way. We say we should not take those Quranic descriptions literally. We should take them as a sign of what to expect, but based on what the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, that we shall know Jannah is very, very different than that. Now, today, we're going to shift our reflection a little bit from this spiritual side, mostly toward the worldly side. So we all live in this world where we all have a worldly event. Now, what does Quran teach us about the worldly event? Particularly when we read the Quran, we find out the Quran's talking about, the stories, talking about the something historical happened to the Prophet and his companion. But we know the Quran is not a biography of the Prophet. It's not chronicle of Islamic history. Then why does Quran speak of that? How should I? What is the relevance of, let's say, the Battle of Badr that we're going to discuss today, to me today? Why should Quran mention this if I'm not going to study history? Perhaps it's not that important for me, but why it actually mentioned in Quran, as a very, very important event. So, and that's our subject, and that's we're going to, inshallah, reflect and try to see what are the wisdom behind the events that Quran bring to our attention. Let's start the class.
Inshallah. Thank you. Beautiful summary of yesterday's discussion. Covered almost every point, important points. Now we are moving into a very interesting subject, and my fear is we have to spend a lot of time on them to understand these kind of verses of the Quran, ayat of the Quran. Now, this is the seventh in our listing, seventh definition of the Quran, which is as revealer, Quran as revealer beneath social and political events. We have to be careful beneath social and political events, not the political events themselves. We have to be careful about it. Quranic response to historical realities. Now, what does it mean? It means we have to see that in order to understand what is the universal, timeless principle is taught within these verses. These verses mention about, as Dr. Najati mentioned, a specific event. A war event or something happened during the life of the Prophet, a local event, temporal event, that time happened, and it may not happen the same thing now, the same physical event, and we haven't seen it, just we have the narrations. So in order to understand it, first of all, we need some physical conditions, the knowledge of the physical conditions, which is a contextual revelation. Esbab-ı nuzul, it means the occasions of the revelation. Now, many verses were revealed in direct response to real social, political, and tribal, a direct response to real social, political, or tribal events, battles, treaties, injustice, crisis in the 7th century Arabia. It is that time. But Quran always teaches, guides human beings from human perspective. I have to see the physical example and see the general principle behind it, universal principle behind it. The specific event is not the purpose of the Quran at all. It is just make it real based on the message. Universal message is based on real, lived, experienced by human beings. That is possible. And you may have another version of the same event. Now, this is, first of all, we need to know the occasions of the revelation, which is called Esbab-ın Nuzul. Now, the Quran as social commentary now makes a commentary on the events, but Quran is not only abstract teaching. Yes, the principles are universal, in the universal terms, they are abstract. But the way it is taught is very real life living experiences. We have to understand Quran. I would say Quran doesn't mention about the war of Badr, but on the occasions of the war of Badr, a physical example is presented to us. The Quran, therefore, Allah established his, if you like, articles of his constitution, but based on real living experience. We should never forget that. Quran is a social commentary. What does it do? The Quran addresses power structures, economic inequality, the treatment of the marginalized and deprived people, and the ethics of governance, not in a vacuum, but in response to lived reality. We should understand this, and we talked about it. I will go here. Universal principles from specific moments. Now, while we are reading an historical event, we should never forget that this is a specific moment, but we have to look for why the creator of the universe speaking to me, creating me in the 21st century in a certain geography of the earth and telling me this event. There must be a universal principle in it. We have to look for the universal principle side of it. We shouldn't lose ourselves in the physical event itself. We have to be careful. But it doesn't mean that we shouldn't know the physical event. No, we should know the Esbab Nuzul. It means physical event. Under which conditions this event happened and what the ayah, the verse, is teaching me by utilizing this specific event, specific creation, so establishing a constitutional principle. We have to be extremely careful to transfer the specific event into an abstract constitutional principle. But this but is important here. Now, we are talking about this point now. Because the subject of fiqh, jurisprudence, Islamic law, is constrained with practical side and not interpreting it through the history of Islamic Muslim world or history until now, although we know that ijtihad is open, but it is practiced or not, that's another problem. So it is not practiced for some reasons, political reasons. We don't have time to talk about the history of these kind of events, but we have to learn here the principle of reading the Quran. You and I here, rather than criticizing what was lacking in the fiqh ulama, what they did, what they neglected, what should be done, how the Muslim world treated the Quran in an appropriate way or not, it is not our subject. Our subject is now, when I read the Quran, you and I read the Quran, especially, not all of us definitely, but most of us, we have to admit, read the Quran from translations. And I don't know how many of us, inshallah, there are many, but I don't know the proportion of, we don't read to go to the tafsir and tafsirs, commentaries on the Quran. Even if you go to the commentaries on the Quran, we don't know the principles of or the usul fiqh. We don't know how to derive verdict, how to derive hukum from a particular ayat or from a particular hadith narrations. Uh, there may be some experts among us. Well, I respect them. But generally speaking, nowadays, we are just reading from the translations. We have to bear in mind that now universal principles be should be extracted from the specific moments mentioned in the Quran. We should not lose ourselves in the specific moment. What happened? Who was, for example, Abu Lahab? Well, none of my business. Somebody, if you like, my creator now teaches me. There was a man who was called Abu Lahab. He was proud of the wealth. He was proud of his social status, and we condemned him. I would say, am I really proud of my wealth? Am I really proud of my social status? Huh? So Allah is telling me that don't be like the example of Abu Lahab. Now, we shouldn't lose ourselves in history. But if you want to really specialize in fiqh studies, that is another subject. We are talking here for laymen like me, laymen. Now, how am I going to practically benefit from the Quran? Now, what began as a response to the particular event carries timeless guidance that communities across centuries have applied to their own social and political challenges. We need to update and apply it to our time. And this needs expertise, of course. I'm not. And I don't know how many expertise are there in the world now that they will do this job because unfortunately, we are not really respectfully treating the heritage we received from previous generations. They are waiting on the shelves of the libraries and waiting for somebody to come and clean the dust over them and open it. Very rare. That is unfortunate. But of course, we have to uh, uh, look at our own responsibility. What am I supposed to do when I take the Quran in my hand and start reading or listening to a person explaining about them, explaining the meaning of a certain verses? I have to bear in mind that this is a particular event, but there must be a timeless guidance behind it. What is that? I have to look for it. And the aim of this study, here we are having understanding the Quran today, is to teach the principles there. Now, let's go here.
Dr. Ali, may I add a few points before we move to the example, I guess. So I think the key part here is to really, as you emphasize, to read those particular event and derive the universal message and relate to ourself and our time today. Now, one thing when you were mentioning, I was reflecting, perhaps that is the reason why Quran was revealed in 23 years, not just at once. So in a way, the revelation of Quran throughout the time with the event was essentially a practical, let's say, a message for us to contextualize this universal message to better understand and to see how you can put in practice rather than just sending those messages in an abstract idea. So in this regard, I think that's gradual revelation within certain context and event was supposed to be very helpful to understand the universal principle and universal message. But unfortunately, the emphasis on the event made us to forget this timeless message behind the event. So in this regard, that I think you gave it a perfect example that when we look at the story of Abu Lahab as a story of the enemy of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and look at this as an historical figure, that we lost the entire message. Then what is the point that I'm going to read this, surah in my prayer and reminding myself all the time? But now, if we have a way to derive universal message from that one, that will say that's not the story of Abu Lahab. That story speaks to me and give message to me. And I think the example we're going to inshallah discuss should make it very clear that how we are supposed to approach to the Quranic event with such lens, inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah, let's go into the example, and we have to talk about it a lot to prepare our minds. Now, for example, Quran speaks about the battle of Badr. Now, God directs conflicting desires. What does it mean? Conflicting desires from my perspective, human perspective, and God's plan. Mine and God's plan may conflict according to my capacity, according to my view. These are very important principles. Please, I know all our friends here attentively listening, but I will emphasize again, please be careful. Please listen carefully what we are going to discuss. Because this aspect I see in the Muslim world now, in general, among public, is not taken seriously and not very well known. We have to be very careful. Now, political and military context. Now, this example we are going to read within a subject which takes place within the political and military context. Now, let's read the ayah, or listen to the ayah. First, Bismillah.
وإذ يعدكم الله إحدى الطائفتين أنها لكم وتودون أن غير ذات الشوكة تكون لكم ويريد الله أن يحق الحق بكلماته ويقطع دابر الكافرين.
Let's see what it says. Remember how God promised you, the believers, now the addresses to the believers, that so they will understand. Unbelievers will never ever understand this. So this bracket deliberately I chosen that one of the two enemy groups would fall into you. You wanted the unarmed group to be yours. That is what human free choice, human vision, human perspective sees this. I see an event, this is better for me. For example, I graduated from college or wanted to get a job. I thought this company or this type of profession is the best for me, and I want that one. Now, but It was God's will to establish the truth according to his own word and to wipe out the last remnant of those who denied the truth. God's biggest plan is to wipe out the last remnant of those who denied the truth. It means, in my life, I'm applying for this job. And I think that, oh, it is a good job next to my, house, or commuting is easy, and the price is well, the company is well established. That's my view now. But God looks at the matter and decides according to my intention what I deserve. I don't know what I deserve. My Creator knows best. This guy is choosing this. No, this abt, I say this guy is, I'm sorry, he used this language. So this abt is thinking that this is the best job for him. But this person, this abt, he's a sincere one. He deserves for his ultimate life in the hereafter. He deserves this, and in the way that I create the universe, not this company, but that company is better for him. So I receive a letter from company A that my favorite says, we regret to tell you that the market is so competitive, blah, blah, blah, and say, your application is rejected or not accepted kindly. You get disappointed. No, no. Look at yourself first. Did you do your job within within the way that the universe is created, within the way that the order of the universe requires? For example, without being without graduating, apply for a job to the top position in a company. They wouldn't accept it. It's obvious. You know that. You know that. But I say, okay, I know how the market works, the job market works. I am well prepared for it. I may feel that I guaranteed everything. But I get rejection for my application. And there was another option. God says here, God's will to establish the truth according to his own word. In fact, the one who creates the universe knows all circumstances without time and space limitations. He knows if I go to job and then I will have this one, and chooses the best way for me. I have to ask God, not necessarily like this. The prayers are very important. We have to be conscious of our prayers. Please, God, give me that job. Are you ordering God? And saying that you don't know, but I know better. I know better. Be careful while we are praying. Please, Allah, God, I think within my own limited knowledge of the order of the universe, I don't know the future, definitely not, no one does. I don't know what is good for me, but as far as I am concerned, as far as I know, the order of the creation that you teach me through creating the world, this is the best for me. I am applying for it. If you think this is the best for me, please give me. I need your guidance. I need your help. That is the meaning of istikhara. Istikhara. Istikhara means asking for the higher one, not asking for what I want. Please guide me, God. Which one is good for me? Tell me. It means we will use this aspect of the subject, social matters, trusting God, God's knowledge, God's mercy, God's wisdom, more than what I see is a very limited laws of the creation, principles of the creation, order. We don't know the whole order. Now we will go to this subject, of course, so that we might prove the truth to be true and the false to be false. Make the distinction. However hateful this might be to the wicked ones, they don't like it. The wicked ones, it means really those with the mujrim, they, if you like, contradict their reality, their fitra, their purpose of creation. They don't like it. They want what they wanted to happen. Now, I will stop here. And if Dr. Najati wants to make a comment, but I have lots of things to discuss about this matter.
Yeah, I think I wanna highlight a few points before you go
Yeah.
deeper in that. This ayah is really amazing in many ways. When I'm hearing that, first it's saying that God is in charge of everything. So it's give pure Tawheedi views in which that your life and the event in your life are actually determined or shaped by the Creator. He is not leaving you alone. That's number one. Second is saying that you will something, do your part, but God's will is the one who's going to prevail. And in this regard, it's clearly here in this context, it's saying you wanted to have an easy victory and he brought a hardship in front of you and you were not pleased with that. But actually, that was best for you. You didn't know that because God is all knowing. So, in a way that you see, that's tell us that, yes, sometimes we prefer something because we see is an easy victory. But then we are encountered with the challenges to have even better victory, to have a better outcomes. So, and that's, I think, give us a very clear message that how we should perceive the challenges in life, not as an obstacle, as an opportunity, as a way of perhaps, getting something even better than what we're looking for. And the third one I derive it from this, I see it's linked to our happiness discussion. Most of the time, when we are not happy, it's because we think what we desire is the best, not what Allah desired for us is the best. It's ironic. It's like you're sick, you go to the best physician, and you're supposed to trust the physician and say, give me whatever you think is best for me. But you go and insist on particular medicine. And when the physician gives you something else, you start to cry and say, I didn't get what I wanted. But here the ayah is saying, look, trust him. He's all knowing, he's all wise. Don't trust your own judgment and don't get disappointed if you get something different that you wanted, because the one who gives this is all knowing and all wise. And I found the amazing, amazing universal principle applied to every single human being. And I think that is, I don't know how many people could read this within such perspective, but I personally enjoy to reflect on this ayah with this lens.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Now, we have to admit that we have gone through a chemical process. What is this chemical process? Well, we have been poisoned by the secularist education, therefore, secularist way of thinking. Two main obstacles that we have when we have to really overcome these obstacles. One is we are used to experiencing that the order of the universe doesn't change. Correct. Order doesn't change. And for example, that simple example, if I leave my eraser, when not keep it, it will fall. It's definite. So people think that, well, that happens by itself. Allah is not, the creator is not there. Here it is. So when I obey the order, as far as I know, the result is guaranteed. That's one thing. Another obstacle is the language. Those people who secular scientists, not every, no, secular scientists speak with sure language. I have experienced in my lab. This happens after this. I can demonstrate it. Yeah, I can do that. That's correct. Or obeying the order in a specific context, the expected result, accustomed result occurs. It says, here it is. Universe is working by itself. But this age, which is called the Newtonian age, is over. It is destroyed. It is twice destroyed by relativity and by quantum. Now, quantum destroyed all of them. They are without the honest scientists are very aware. They talk about, everybody must have heard this expression, butterfly effect. What does it mean? A butterfly may cause a big violence in the ocean. With his power? No. Butterfly effect, which means we don't know. There are two principles are working together in the universe. One is we can detect and learn the order of the universe as it is orderly has been happening, and we experience from it, but there are other factors that we don't know, which is called in Kader-i Bedihi and Kader-i Nazari. Kader-i Bedihi, I know that if I leave the eraser, will drop. That is Kader-i Nazari, Bedihi. I have been experiencing from my perspective. But when I do something, for example, plant a seed, can I guarantee that it will be safe from everything from, for example, I don't know, earthquake, from a storm wiping up everything, or from a disease that we experienced recently, and for example, a virus came and killed many people employed. I call them death angels that time. Everybody was afraid that I'm going to die soon. So that period, or how many years ago, I don't want to tell even the name, this is just made up. But death angels came and worldwide epidemic threatened that you have to wake up people. Even a small creature, Junudullah, Allah's army, then comes and gets into your body and kills you. Who you are. You have been so proud of your scientific discoveries and knowing everything, and as if this world is going to be a permanent place for you. And we didn't know that this would happen. No one can say that. This is called butterfly effect. We don't know the whole arrangement of the universe. Don't be misled. Don't be misled saying that we found the formula of the universe. It is just an absolute lie. Then quantum mechanics now admitting that we don't know exactly how the universe is working and coming into existence. Well, go and listen to Feynman's explanations, this Nobel laureate. So he was I mean, genius man, one of the genius men. Anyways, so he says we should be modest. We should be modest. So Newton was so proud of his speech. It was wrong, baseless. We don't know what will happen next moment. There are many people in this field, although some of them is obstinate atheists, but most of them are declaring that we don't know the universe. In fact, we know only 2% of the universe existence. But Feynman says 5%. Doesn't matter. 95% of the universe is absolutely unknown to us. And it is not likely that we will know it at all. Because it is Kaderin Nazari. The whole universe is arranged by the creator, owner, administrator of the universe according to his will, as this verse is saying. We have to be very careful. We have to know that I know only limited, certain order. For example, they say chaos, and they use this. We have to watch out. We have to be extremely careful. They use this expression, order out of chaos. This is the most devilish language, devilish lie that some secularist scientists use it. Chaos as quantum mechanics is not the reality, as they say. They say chaos is what we cannot calculate. For example, let's say a wind or a storm happens, we cannot calculate exactly what the order in the existence of the storm. We cannot calculate it because butterfly effect, a small a molecule of water may behave in this way or another way. For example, a bird comes in with his wing, changes the direction. You don't know. Although bird cannot do it, but this is called from a simple example I will give you. You pour water in a glass, yeah, water glass, and pour it, goes and goes and goes and goes. When it overflows, by the effect of the last drop you put. And the scientists are admitting we don't know where the last drop in the order of the universe will fall. We don't know. We cannot do it because as far as our calculations, as far as our observation of the universe, we don't know. Something looks chaotic to us. But in fact, there is no chaos in the universe. Everything is perfectly, finely measured, finely measured. So we have to know that while we are, I have to complete. I have to complete. While we are following the order that we know, as this verse is an excellent example, following the order that we know, we are responsible to follow this order. But at the same time, we have to bear in mind that the whole order of the universe is not within my hand. It is, I think this sentence is the crucial sentence, it is in the hand of the one who creates the universe continuously with his wisdom, with his absolute free choice, arranges it. We don't know the time dimension. That's why we think that it is standard. It is never standard as far as the universal order of the universe is concerned. He is arranging it in an orderly manner. That's what we have to be aware. In an orderly manner. We think that everything is constant. No, creation is constant. Orderly creation is constant. Continuously orderly creation is constant, but it is out of the choice of the creator of the whole universe. He knows, the one who creates this order of the universe knows all the universe from the beginning to the end. We will discuss this. وَالْأَوَّلُ وَالْآخِرُ وَالظَّاهِرُ وَالْبَاطِنُ means this. Thank you for your patience, Dr. Najati.
Yeah, so I want to really interrupt to just, in a way, link to our life, because you took us really in a very deep journey to show clearly that we don't know, we don't have the knowledge of how everything is run in the universe. We should not be arrogant, be humble. And even science came to the point and acknowledged this fact. So in this regard, what we're learning that the universe is running by the creator, the one who created the universe, who take care of everything in the universe. In Quranic term, that a single leaf also cannot fall down because of the wind, is fall down because of the will of the creator. So if even a single leaf is under control of his will and power, every event in the universe is under control of his power. And that include the event that happening to us personally, the event that happening to us as a society, as a humanity as well. He is, and I think the Battle of Badr, that what we're reflecting on, is telling us that God is not only the God of flower and the sun and the moon and the cells and the seed. He is also the God, the Rabb of you, an event in your life. He does take care of everything for you as well. Be aware. Just follow his sunnah, his way, his orderly, I don't want to use a system. I know you don't like the system. His orderly manner, and fulfill your part, and let him to determine whatever is best for you, as long as you know who he is and you understand al-khayru fi makhtarullah means the goodness lies in what he chooses for you, is not what you choose for yourself. Then you should be perfectly happy in whatever he determined for you, whether that is going to be rejection from the job that you was mentioning, or failure in exam, or a disease that you get it, or an unexpected an enemy suddenly comes in front of you. There is a khair in everything because he is khair mutlaq. That's what I'm reading about. But there are really many aspects of this. I was particularly reflecting on trying to understand that why the ayah toward the end mentioning that we give this to prove the truth to be true and false to be false. What is that part of it? This is a battle, and it's supposed to talk about the battle only, and then jump to something and tells me, there is some other wisdom, you don't understand it. But I'm curious, what is your reading of that part of the verse?
Now let's inshallah go into it slowly. Now, it doesn't mean that whatever we do, whatever we choose, whatever God wills, it will happen anyways. So why should I bother? Because at the end, God's will prevail, will dominate everything. Now, we have to train ourselves while we are obeying the order of the universe. We have to be conscious. That's what we need to be. I am obeying not the order of the universe. I am obeying the will of the creator of the universe as it comes to me as an within the order. I am obeying the will of the creator. For example, when I drop the razor, I say, okay, I wanted it to drop, yeah, like this. I obeyed the order. No, I obeyed the will of the creator who established this order. This consciousness is belief consciousness. Ah, when I say, if you want to do something, you have to do this. Why? God established the order, the creator of the universe, established the order in this way. That is his will. I am obeying his will. Materialist people say, I am obeying the natural law. A believer or the conscious people says, I am obeying the will of the creator. That is how he created me. That's how he gave me the capacity to follow it, to learn it. That's all his blessings. And I am practicing it to obey how God wants me to do. So I am thirsty. I want to drink water. Ah, I am created in this way. My creator wants me to drink water. Not, I am thirsty, I have to drink water. That is secularist view and materialist view. We have to be very conscious of this reality. That is why the Quran says, and everybody is wondering about it, Allahu yakhluqu ma yasha. Yeah? We know that. Allah yakhluqu ma yasha. Whatever you choose is your choice, but Allah chooses and He decides. Your choice is not doesn't matter. But as far as Allah's creation is concerned, I cannot create. I just obey the order the way Allah creates. The universe is created. Now, if I am conscious in my obedience of the way the universe is created, that this way I am given the opportunity to obey the will of the creator, and I put my trust about the result that I attempt by following the order. I trust in God. Materialists trust what? In natural laws. That is the difference. I am obeying God and trusting that the Creator is going to create for me for the next moment. Materialist is creating it. That is the way the truth and the falsehood will be distinguished. Now, God always creates everything with his, especially two names, mercy and wisdom, or wisdom and mercy. We have to see that there must be a wisdom in it. Try to read the wisdom. And mercy, God is always willing for his creatures, ibad, human beings, and all creatures, what is good for them in order to fulfill the purpose of their life. Why we are created in this world. The purpose, in order to get to know who I am, who my owner is, so that I will communicate with my owner. That is why the ayat ends up with this ليحق ليحق الحق وباطل الباطل. But why is it that his aim is to make the truth always prevail over the battle? We have to know that after doing my job, whatever is created, that is Allah's decision, God's decision, after doing my what is my portion is, and I know that this is the truth, what Allah created, and this is the best for me. Now, shall we go into the historical context of this ayah?
I think we don't have time for that. We have a comment. Let me bring this to your attention to see what you will say. When we started our session today, there was a comment. Someone was expecting that we're going to talk about the current event, and we spent almost an hour. You never talk about that, and I guess that person might be a little disappointed. My question to you is this. When you read this ayah, that it looks like it was within military context and political context, but you never touch that aspect and you drive some principles that is not unique to the military time. It is universal to every time, to every individual. Why did you prefer to read it in this way?
Because the Quran is the universal message. Quran cannot be read within history or read only within history. But Quran speaks to us, teaches us in a real base. So I think, if you don't mind, let me read this one and finish with this ayah for today, inshallah. But this is the ayah I prefer what's going on. Now, I prefer this because we have to establish the main principles in studying the ayat of the Quran related to social, political, economical matters. So we have to be aware of these foundations. Today, the foundations are established. Inshallah, we will further go quicker. Let's finish this one for today. We have 2 minutes. Historical context. I will just read it. Before the Battle of Badr, which took place in 624 Christian era, now the Muslims debated whether to intercept a merchant caravan easier or face Abu Sufyan's armed escort. Now, this verse was revealed during the deliberation. What should we do? Which way we should take? Now, reframing the choice as part of God's larger plan, showing that, yes, while you are doing it within your own knowledge, what you are doing is the best, but be careful, there is a larger plan. So if something comes up not according to your expectations, don't be surprised. It is the mercy, it is the wisdom of the Creator. Try to see the wisdom and mercy in it. Key insight, summary, I am almost done. The Quran reveals that human political calculations are, or military calculations are, subordinate to divine purpose. Who is subordinating who? Am I ordering God by choosing the order? You have to create this because you said this in the creation or in the order, or am I obeying your order? This is the problem. We have to make decision and be aware of it. Even military strategy becomes a theological question. Becomes a theological question. İtikadi matter. That is what we have been trying to see, the itikadi, belief aspect of it. About theological question, about where ultimate authority lies. Can you guarantee your life, Dr. Nejati, for tomorrow?
For
Now,
next
ultimate
month.
authority arranges the absolute power, absolute knowledge, the order of the universe in such a way that you and I can never, ever guess. So, but we have to try to keep healthy. But when death comes, that is my merciful, wise creator wants me to leave this world of or the school of education place of the universe. I don't say imtihan. I use test. No, education place of the universe. So another time, another place, I'm going to be taken away. Thank you for your patience. Inshallah, we will follow other aspect of the Quran next tomorrow.
Inshallah. Thank you very much. I think it was very, very thoughtful, very deep, and very beneficial reflection. And particularly if we read it as something speaks to us today, to me as a person, and I think will drive amazing lessons in which that the Quran is clearly through the story saying that. You have an all-knowing, all-wise, most merciful creator. He's your owner. He's with you. He take care of you. He prepared the best for you. Just trust him and do your best by following his order and his will and leave the rest to him. He will give the best to you. So I think that is amazing. If we could internalize and if we could truly submit to him, that's in a way I see is a perfect definition of what Islam mean. When Ibrahim alayhi salam was called isqala lahu aslim, and I feel aslim here, the submission is to submit to his will, fulfilling your duty and submit to his ultimate decision, whatever he decide for you, it must be khair. Thank you very much, and let's hear dua and end it for dua with dua, inshallah.
سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين بحرمة سر سورة الفاتحة.
Okay, thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. See you tomorrow, inshallah, at the same time.
Inshallah, we are going to talk about Hudaybiyah tomorrow.
Another battle.
Oh,
But no,
yeah.
but it's a different one, right? And that were in a way is
Completely,
considered to be
completely,
defeat. Yeah,
completely
considered to be defeat, but we're gonna see what is the hikmah.
Inshallah. Inshallah, we will study that.
Inshallah. Okay, assalamu alaikum.
Alaykum as-salam wa rahmatullah.